I own a pair of Atom A7Xs. I noticed that you can really hear the top end clarity come through. Like, for instance, whenever I'm listening to cymbals, you can really hear when they're A, too compressed, or B, just too sibilant and nasty, too airy, too squashed, too washy, so on and so forth. That sticks out the most. On top of everything, you can the stereo image is really good. Like, you can hear exactly where everything is. You don't have, you know, your vocals deadpan center or don't appear to be all over the place. Everything is really rather spread and clear. They're about, I would say they're on par or competing with the Atoms for sure. Like, the Atoms do some things a little bit better, but I think the Clarities do a lot of things better as well. You know, and Atoms being somewhere in the range of about $1,400 retail for the pair of them. Well, you really can pick out, you know, what a really good mix sounds like and what it's supposed to sound like. You know, you listen to something that Randy Staub has done, for instance. That's how you pronounce his name, right?
Yeah,
Staub, whatever. And you can really hear how well they translate. You know, you listen to certain mixes and you're like, well, this, you know, this is too bright or whatever, but then you listen to a mix where, you know, a Nickelback mix or similar, something that, you know, is really well done. It's not too bright, it's not too dark, it's perfect, and you can really hear the differences, especially in the top end where I think these excel a lot. You can really hear the difference as far as just what a weaker mix versus a stronger mix has. Sealed boxes make everything, you can hear the transients of everything super well. You can hear what's too far out front, what isn't. You can hear just the transient response of everything is so much better than on, you know, a set of cheaper monitors that I've heard. I mean, they beat out the Atoms as far as transient response by a long shot at almost half the price. You know, and I think that says a lot. And NS10, well, they have a lot of the same aspects of just how the speaker translates, in the sense of, you know, you got the NS10 transient response is pretty much one of the only major reasons to buy it. I mean, the transient response is next to nothing. I mean, it's one of the best in the business, but, you know, it also excels in being very revealing in certain spots, and is, you know, specifically in the higher mids, which some people, you know, complain of them being harsh, but I mean, that's one of the toughest places in a mix to get right. And that's what the NS10s are going for. Whereas these sort of take that and, you know, make it a little more versatile in the sense that it has the same transient response, but it's way more balanced. It's just as clear, and yet they're more usable. Like, how often you can't listen to NS10s for a super long time. You can't listen to them for very loud, because it's going to hurt your head after a period of time. Whereas these are much easier to listen to, and really more usable in the end, because they're just so much more balanced. But they still have that transient response, and they still have the punchy thing going on. There we go. The punchy thing going on.
They got the punchy.
They got the punchy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm struggling to justify to not buy them in contrast to my Atoms, because I think they would fill in the gap that the Atoms can't, you know, don't excel with.
In the lower mid region?
Well, the lower mid's the very top end. You know, the Atoms are really good for that, but these have a different sort of high end, you know, to them. They're more upfront, and whereas the Atoms are more glassy. But, you know, especially in the low end, where, you know, the Atoms go down super low, but you know what you get out of that is you get it's less balanced, it's less accurate. I mean, you get the port sound, and you get the woofiness coming with it, and, you know, you start sacrificing balance for just getting more lows. When, I mean, in all honesty, if your room isn't very good, what's the point of having more low end?
Yeah, agreed.
So they definitely clear in the low end, which would be a fairly significant, you know, addition to it, and a different way of looking at the top end of the Atoms for sure. Definitely a little bit more, okay, here's what's wrong. Right there. This is what's wrong. Period.